the elevator has been stopped, and they're just walking past it. I mean, this is some very impressive architecture. Would you look at that? This is the extent of overinvestment in infrastructure in China. That you have some perfectly good commercial real estate in the heart of Shanghai that is sitting empty and abandoned. So today I've come to check out another semi-empty office block here in China, and this is a project that has been completed. This has been completed about a year ago, and it's still mostly empty these days. Let's take a walk then. I will say the architecture is pretty. The architecture is pretty pleasing. There is plenty of natural light, and it is pretty well designed for an office slash commercial real estate complex. These buildings, at least when I first came here, was completely empty, and now they've got their lights on, and it looks like there are some tenants moving in here. Let's take a look. Yeah, there's definitely people going in and out of these buildings, which seems like it's open for business. But as you will see, this is the exception in this complex. Most of these buildings are still semi-abandoned. There is a Starbucks, and it's got some foot traffic. This is the busiest part of this office complex. It is closest to the metro, and you have some tenants. Most of these people walking through here, they're not from this particular office park. Rather, they are, because this particular one is situated amongst several others from across the street, and a lot of these office workers are walking through here to get to the other part, the other side of this office buildings. Yeah, friends, this was not open the last time I came here, so that is an improvement. There are some shops and businesses open, but most of it is pretty sparse. You've got a KFC around the corner. There's also a couple of coffee shops, and there's a McDonald's at the distance. All right, let's take a walk then. And as you can see, these two buildings were the ones that we just walked past. And the one thing I know about Chinese is that they don't like natural lightings in their offices. So if an office building is occupied, you are going to see some curtains being drawn. And whereas these buildings, as you can see, all these real estate, basically the entirety of the park, with the exception of the first two buildings, are completely empty. And they have all been finished and open for lease, yet there's no one to lease them. And now, would you look at that? This is the extent of overinvestment in infrastructure in China. That you have some perfectly good commercial real estate in the heart of Shanghai that is sitting empty and abandoned. Yeah, just look at that. And it's not like there's anything inherently wrong with this office complex. It's just there's way too much supply in the market. And I would hate to be the guy that invested their money, or the company that invested their money into these office complex that are not just sitting completely empty. And this is the tip of the iceberg. Right, this is the first building I'm going to look at. And what you would notice is that a lot of people that are strolling here are treating this place like a park. They're basically on their midday break, their lunch break, and they are, strolling through here, or sitting on this fake grass and playing card games and whatnot. Let's take a look at another one of these. This is T5, which is the fifth building. We're gonna take a look. And you will notice that a lot of these escalators have all been installed, but they're not on currently, which makes sense. There's no office tenants in here. It can't be a waste of electricity to turn them on. This is actually kind of creepy. I mean, this will be a fantastic spot for urban exploration and whatnot. And everything had been installed. This is the elevator shaft. And again, it's just empty. Here's the bathroom. It's even closed. The lighting is not even on. I mean, I would hate to be the guy or the company that invested their money, or God forbid, borrow from the bank to invest in this place. But people are treating this thing like a park. And the sad part about this is that when you take a look at the horrible conditions in some of the Chinese universities' campuses, especially their dormitories, I mean, students there are living in dormitories akin to 80s prison in China, and then to have this top-notch real estate sitting empty and dilapidated. It's quite the contrast. And you know the funny thing is, they're building more right across the street. As if having one office park sitting empty is not enough. They're gonna have more of it. All right, let's continue. And this place will serve as a fantastic college campuses. I mean, just look at that. You got multiple levels, big open spaces for students to congregate. And just imagine this place having students going in and out of classrooms, going to and from dorm rooms, and has shops and restaurants. I mean, this place must have cost a fortune to build. Look at that. The elevator has been stopped, and they're just walking past it. Let's walk down from here. Now, this is actually the ground floor. So, if there's any commercial activity happening, it should be happening on this floor because it's closest to the street. And yet it's completely empty. All of the glass facade have been installed. And yet, all for nothing. Again, this is another entirely abandoned block. All of the necessities, water, lightings have been installed, but just completely empty. I mean, this is some very impressive architecture. Yet, nothing else. And the opposite side, the opposite block, have almost the same lobby as this one. But guess what? Empty all the same. Now this building has some occupancy. This is also a significantly older building, and we're coming up to the street on the other side, so better access, more tenants. Yeah. In case you haven't grasped the grandioseness of this place, this is pretty much size-wise akin to all modern-day college campuses. It's just airily empty. Now, this is a service department, which will serve fantastically as a college dormitory.